dominion of the ground, of the land, so it was necessary a reform. But unfortunately, in those days, in order to be a very irrational and impractical one, was made by political means, you know. When the military government took power in 1973, that was in September, they started immediately reforming the economy of the country. So they did all what is written there. One thing is very important, is, I must tell you, as an ambassador and as a Chilean, during the military government, there was a very good reform in the economic field. But also, there was a lot of violation against human rights. We must very object to be very object in those analysis. They did very good things, but also they didn't respect human rights. No. Which were the achievements of Chile? With this, or with those reforms in the economic field, we can say that in 1975, the per capita income in Chile was 25% of what was in the United States in those days. Only 25%. In 1990, was 28% of the United States income. And in 2006, was 40%. On the other hand, in 1975, in the rest of the Latin American countries was 24% of the United States. And in 2006, it fell to 18%. That was the difference because Chile was going in a more free economy, and the rest of the countries, or Latin American countries, were under the control of the states. In 1990, after 17 years of the military government, that was so Chile returned to the democracy. And between 1990 and 2007, the import tariffs were reduced remarkable, more than they did when there was the military government. So new rounds of privatization started, and free trade agreements were signed with the United States, European Union, and other countries. So the policy of the new government in Chile was to have, I repeat you, an open economy, and to put very low tariff in order to if we have a national industry, must be good and must to be competitive with the rest of the world. Was the only way that we can go in the world and compete to produce in good condition and a good price. I can tell you, as an example, has been the wine. Chile produced a lot of wine, and we start exporting our wines in the 90s. I was in Canada, and in Canada, especially in the Quebec province, they speak most French. So most of the Quebecois, they were drinking French wine, because it's a good wine, the French wine. And we start exporting our Chilean wine to Canada, especially to the Quebecois province. And I can tell you, a good Chilean wine was around $6 Canadian dollars. And the French was around 15 or 17. So the Quebecois said, well, we can try this one. And after 2 or 3 years, we penetrate the Quebecois market in wines, because the wine was good and the price was better than the French one. And the same we did when, not the same, but we penetrate also the Japanese market. The Japanese never drink wine. And they started drinking wine. And now we have Japanese investors in Chile. They bought land in Chile and they have vineyards. And they produce a very sophisticated wine in Chile. Now, what is the formula in order to develop the country in that way? Reform in the judicial branch. It's very important for if a country wants to be prosperous. If you have a very clean and independent judicial branch. Because why? Not only because a police can arrest you and you want to be free or to discuss. If somebody wants to invest in Chile and they want to have very clear the rules, and if you are doing some business between a Chilean and a foreigner, and there is a dispute, they will go to the justice. And the justice must be very impartial to say if the foreigner is right, they will decide you are right and the Chilean is not right. But for that conclusion, you must have a very good, clean juridical system. And also, there was a new tax package in order to provide money for social programs. So the people who receive a lot of money in Chile, they have to pay more taxes. And that money didn't go for the political party, they went for the social programs, like, for example, education, housing, health, a lot of things that Chile needed. So it was necessary to do that kind of reform. Also was a reform in the working law, because before the entrepreneur or the owner of the company or the industry, if he didn't like this worker, he rejected and go on. Now, with this new reform, the government puts on one side the entrepreneurs and the laborers or the workers. They discuss and they agree how to work. Of course, to be very balanced, because the entrepreneurs put the money, the risk of the industry, and the labor put the hands or the skin. So there is a law that protects both the entrepreneur and also protect the worker. And not all the companies were privatized. Because it's not to say, well, we are in a new economy and everything will be in hands of the privates. No. For us, for example, the copper is our main, I told you, our main exportation. For that reason, the copper is a strategic good in Chile. So that belongs to the states, and it's very well managed, that one. But the rest of the companies are privatized already. And all these reforms help us to have, between 1990 and 97, a growth of 7.7%. Now, I must tell you, I'm not economic. I don't have an economic background. But I can tell you I have my doubts about this privatization. I think there are two things that must be also in the state control: health and education. Because when you privatize school, education, and health, of course you will have very good university like this one. But you have to pay for this one, I suppose. The same if you go to a very good clinic or very good hospital, you have to pay. What happens if you don't have the money? You have to think now the people, they don't have the money. So for that reason, I think a good government must provide private and public ones. For the people, they don't have money, they have good hospital and good school and good universities. For the people, they don't have money. But that's very difficult sometimes when you have this kind of policy, open economy or liberal one. For that reason, my position is that must be both, on both sides, because you must provide for all your society, not only for the people who have money. There are people that sometimes they don't have money and they want to educate their children, and also they have problem with the health. No. The success of Chile in its economy was to export, because we say we are an open economy, we accept what is coming from the world, but also we want to export of the world. So for that reason, we put very low tariff for all the foreign products, but also to start exporting to the rest of the world. So the export growth rates up to 2 digits at the end of the 90s. And the social condition improved, and the poverty line rate very low, from 24% in 1989 to 5% in 2003. In this moment, actually, in 2010, our poverty is around 1.5, something like that, going very low, fortunately for us. Chile, like Turkey, has a lot of natural resources. We have minerals, we have land, and as I mentioned at the beginning, we have a long coast. So we have a lot of product from the sea. We can export fundamentally our natural resources, like wine, fresh food, canned food, salmon, and minerals. And according to the statistics, Chile has the most modern economy in the region and the most stable and open democracy in this moment. You know, in Chile, for the first time in Latin America, a lady was elected president. That was in 2005, was Mrs. Bachelet. Later came Mrs. Cristina Kirchner in Argentina, you know. And so in South America was the first country to elect a lady. So problem, men, we don't have problem with ladies, you know. So we accept when it's intelligent and clever, why not, you know. Well, what was important for all those changes as well is we have very good control in the public expenditure. It's very important that the opposition, the political opposition, and the institution that has the government control in what is spending the money. So in this moment, any government in Chile must be very careful what does with the money. So must be very well located and well invested in infrastructure or social programs. And what other thing is very important is the educational reform. We think, and as the rest of the world do the same, the best investment for a country is good education. If young people can study and can achieve what they want to do, why not? You know, but the states and the governments provide the tool for the youth they can study what they want to do. Now they have another statistic about our situation in the rest of the world. With among 134 countries, Chile was located in the 28th place. In South America, in Latin America, it's the first one. Brazil is coming with 64, and I put other ones like Thailand, Malaysia, that very developed countries in this moment. But Chile is very well located right now. Well, today Chile, I can say, is in a good position thanks to those things. It has sustained growth, it has very good public policies, and has very responsible leadership, and its openness, and is open to international market, and has a very solid institution, you know, as a